Hi, Josh here. Welcome back to the devlog for the game formerly known as Jumping Jehoshaphat. I've got a good bit to show you. I did a lot this week, so I'm excited to get started. So let's see. What's new here in the menu is you see we now have Play World 1 levels. So we'll just jump into that. And the first thing you might notice is there's now some audio. I've added some effects as you play. I've also added the ability to add instructions in the form of these signs. So now when you play the first level, it will sort of give you a little bit of help to figure out how to play. So you click and drag to choose a trajectory, which will bring us to the next change. Well, I guess before that I should say that I have changed Jumpin' Jehoshaphat himself, or whatever he's going to be called. As you can see, his eyes follow my cursor. He also is a little bit unstable, so he wiggles around a bit as he's waiting for you to decide what to do. And he is now on a much smaller leg, and he's not pixel art, so he sort of matches the decor a little bit better. But when I choose to drag a trajectory, now you see I don't have a single pixel line. I now have a nice little arrow that indicates which direction I'm going to go. You can see the sign over by the switch over here. Touch the switch to open the door. You jump. Oh. And I missed. So let's try that again. And then over here you get one that says land in front of the door to complete the level. So that, a lot of people when they played the Ludum Dare Jam game, that they wondered why when they flew by the door it didn't, or by the switch actually on that game, it didn't work. So I figured put the instructions to land in front of the door makes it obvious that you've got to stop there. That brought us to the feature I like the most that I added was robot butt cheeks. If you watch as he jumps, you see a little bulbous butt cheeks there. That just cracks me up. I don't know why. But let me get this level is the introduction to the pass-through levels. I'm trying to design the levels to teach you the game mechanics as you go. Here I'm teaching you that you can jump through these by not giving you any other way up. You have to jump through these to get up to the switch. And I put the arrow saying go up this way. So that kind of gives you a little indicator that you can jump through these. Turn the switch on. Getting some lag here, I'm not sure why. Should not be that performance heavy just yet. And now we have spikes. And yes, they will kill you. So you disappear into a little particle explosion of springs and bolts and gears. So let's just go ahead and go up here. Sorry about my Slack notifications. Up here, you have a little bit of a choice. You don't really want to go that way, obviously. But what's interesting about this level is that the door is up there. Now I could go on this one, but if I'm not careful, I want to fall right off of it. It is possible to get on that without falling off. So, as I mentioned in the last blog, I wanted to reward good players with fewer jumps. So, some of the levels, not all of them, are going to have these optional paths that are a little bit trickier to pull off. And for the rest of the players, there will be a slightly easier path that lets them get up here without so much trouble. And it's a little bit harder to screw up. Because even if you fall, if you jump too far down there, you fall, you'll land on this. In worst case scenario, you go back down here, so you don't die. That makes it easier for beginner players to figure out how to complete the level, but then expert players can strive for completing the board with lower number of jumps. Again, this is just taking the spike mechanic a little bit further. And again, I've got this door here, and that jump is a little tricky. You can make it without falling off of here, but again, good players will be able to accurately make that jump and avoid having to come down here and get to the exit in one fewer jump. And here I introduced the idea of moving platforms. Building off the fact that these are the platforms you can jump through going up. And we had the mechanics of the moving platforms. They're different speeds. If you don't time it right, you'll fall off. I'm pretty good at these. And that's another mechanic or another little feature I added. If you land where your center of mass is off of the platform you're actually sitting on, he will lean. His foot will stay planted on the platform, but he will lean a little bit. So it just looks a lot better than having him half off the platform. And here we mix the moving platforms with spikes. If you don't time that right, you can fall off and die. And here we have a tricky situation here. Gotta be careful not to jump too far. And that little ramp knocks you down. Now, of course, there is a way to get from that moving platform, this one, to the door with just one jump while hitting the switch. But again, that's something that takes practice and skill and isn't required, but it will, again, get your jump count down. And those kind of jumps will be required to 100% the game if you want to get the best possible score on a level. And this is a little bit of a trick. Now, it is possible to jump down there very carefully and then get this so you don't bounce your head on this, but it's also possible to aim this just right. You don't quite go off the edge. And then you can jump up here. Oh, there we go. I almost fell off. And that's it. Those are the currently only 8 levels I have. Of course, they're all subject to change. Let's go into the level editor. I'll show you some of those things in action. I now have some markers have sprites. Like the player marker has sprites, the door switch, the door. And if I open a level that has spikes, they have the graphics there. It just makes it a little bit easier when you're designing the level to get a picture of how things are going to look and work. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot other than that to the level editor, so I think that's pretty much it. I did add the ability to, when you select a group of sprites, you can now set the movement paths and offsets and speeds, which is what I needed to do for the moving platforms. So now I can select all these. Oops. Why is it not selecting those? I think that's a bug. No, wait, what did I do? Why is that not? Oh, they're on the foreground, that's why. Okay, so I need to change those to a player level. Although it doesn't really matter. Did I put them all in the foreground? Oh well, I'll mess with that later. But as you can see, I can change the movement offset and movement path. I gave the movement paths names now. So this one is a horizontal movement path that goes right 5 units. Each grid square is a unit in 5 seconds. Right, 8 units in 8 seconds, 12 in 8 seconds, and then you can adjust the movement speed on an individual level. So that makes it a little bit more flexible. Then I have circular movements, which I can demonstrate really quick. We'll do that. And if I play that one, well, that's not good. Well, what happened to my... Maybe I can't demonstrate that. I think I've got some bugs to fix. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's it for this week. Not sure I'm going to get much else done today. My kids are sick, and that's never a good thing. My wife probably is going to need a hand. So I think I'm going to leave that here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.